we have got the speculation is increasing that Donald Trump could be running in 2028 for a third term as president. Now, if you ask him, this is his third term. That's what he said. This is my third term because I was cheated in 2020. However, I don't want to call it my third term because I don't want to claim responsibility for the disaster that was the last 4 years. That's what he says. So he said this is actually would be a fourth term that I would run for. He's Trump, right? You don't take everything he says at face value. You guys should know this by now. But here's what Steve Bannon, his chief strategist, said on the Chris Cuomo show on News Nation about a week ago. Check this out.
Well, a man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
And obviously, anybody who doesn't like what you say but judges it as a function of a lack of intelligence doesn't know anything about you. I don't make that mistake. You're a smart guy. Oh, you know he's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
We're working on it. I think we'll have a couple of alternatives. Let's say that. We'll see. We'll see what the definition. We'll see what the definition of term limit is.
All right. Well, so you're talking about litigating this issue because I don't want people to listen to our interview and say Bannon's cooking up an insurrection. Bannon is cooking up. You know what I mean? I want people to get a straight take on where your head is. What are you suggesting?
Chris, as you know, I've had greater long shots than this. When we supported President Trump after the election, I realize you don't believe the election in 2020 was stolen. We do. We fervently believe that. When President Trump went back to Mar-a-Lago on January 20th, 2021, he was the longest of long shots to return to the White House. We said that day in our podcast and doubled down, having President Trump's back, that he was coming back not just to win the primary, he would win the White House, and we had to get organized and drive that victory and also start working on all the policies. What's called Project 2025 or the America First Policy Institute, but all those different think tanks that started putting in the policies that you're seeing today in what we call Flood the Zone or Days of Thunder or however you want to describe it. But this is many years in the making. So we've had greater long shots than Trump 2028, and we've got a lot of stuff we're working on there. We're not prepared to talk about it publicly, but in a couple of months, I think we will be.
What do you think, Mia? Do you think we're going to get a third term of Trump? Do you think he'll do it?
I would vote for a third term and a fourth term and
fifth
a fifth
term, sixth term. How old is he?
He'll be the next Gene Stothert.
Don't say that. Melania is still alive, guys. She has not committed suicide under very shady circumstances, to our knowledge. How old is Trump? Have you seen? I'm just curious. I mean, he's what, 78? Is that? I think I'm right. I know it's upper 70s.
Yep, 78.
78. Okay.
June 14th, 1946, the day that will go down as the best day in America.
Best day in American history, guys. You're 78 years old. Now, 78's not particularly old, but it is when your diet for the last 20 years has primarily consisted of McDonald's. Let's get through the next 4 years, first off. Second off, Steve Bannon is a very intelligent man. The left underestimated him in 2016 and tried to paint him as this lunatic, fat slob racist, which, well, maybe the fat slob part's right, but the rest of it's not true. Steve Bannon is very intelligent. When he does this, now, what I will say on a side note, a man like this only comes around once every 100 years. To me, as a man, that feels weird to say that about anybody. Like, come on, man. Have some self-respect. Get his member out of your mouth, okay? And I say this is someone who voted for Trump twice, okay? So, when Steve Bannon says things like this, and when Donald Trump leaves things like this up for interpretation, the reason they do this is because it focuses the left's, and we'll talk about maybe this isn't the best idea after all in the next segment here, but it focuses the energy of the mainstream media and the Democrats on ridiculous things that are never going to happen. Of course, he's constitutionally limited. They're fucking with you guys. He's not actually going to run for a third term. They're messing with you. Just like when he says they're going to annex Canada and make it the 51st state. They're not going to do that. When he says Governor Trudeau, it's a negotiation tactic. He called Trudeau Governor Trudeau as a way to demean him and bully him in negotiations. He never had any intention to adopt Canada as the 51st state. It was never the goal. It's never been the goal to make Donald Trump a 3-term president. Guarantee you that's not what they're trying to do. They're playing with you. They're playing with you so the left can spend the next 4 years gearing up and getting ready to campaign against something that could never happen constitutionally, and they'll be totally blindsided by whoever the guy is in 2028. That this is 8-dimensional chess. That's what this is right here. This is like when Bill Belichick used to exploit weird rules in the NFL rule book and fuck with other teams, and they have to go back and retroactively get them changed after the year ended. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. Now, I will say this might backfire, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, because the left, their base at least, maybe not independents and moderates who can see through some of this, but the base of the Democrat Party seems to get riled up by this type of rhetoric. When they call you a dictator and then you say things like this does mobilize their base. But again, they're fucking with you. They're not actually going to run for a 3rd term. I guarantee you, every time that these idiot left-wing talk shows go on the air and dedicate 20, 30, 40 minutes to discussing whether or not Donald Trump is going to run for a 3rd term and not debating economic policy, not debating foreign policy, not debating domestic and immigration policy, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Steve Bannon, and the whole rest of the crew are sitting in the Oval Office and laughing about it. I guarantee you that's what's going on, is they're trolling it because you are so easily distracted. You're the kid that gets distracted by the butterfly and trails off. That's what the left is. They can't stay focused on anything. You watch how quickly these people change the subject matters. Like the price of eggs is down 63%, so we're not hearing about eggs anymore. The border crossings have almost stopped. There was a home in San Diego for illegal immigrants where they were just letting illegal immigrants come and stay there for free. It closed down because they haven't had a single new arrival in weeks. They don't talk about these things because they're popular policies that are working. And it shows, just the border thing shows just how negligent Biden was and how they could have fixed it overnight if they wanted to, but they didn't. They're so scatterbrained. They can't stay focused on anything. So let's keep that. Let's force them to focus on something ridiculous. Let's force them to waste their time on something ridiculous rather than coming up with spins and manipulating economic data and lying about the shape of the state of the economy. Remember, like I've been telling you guys, this is the same mainstream media and the same establishment that told you for 4 years that everything was just rosy under the Biden administration economically. They're going to tell you for the next 4 years that everything's a total disaster under the Trump economy. Some of it might not be great. Some of it might be fantastic. I don't know. But you want, just like we told you to do during the Biden economy, you need to trust your wallet. You need to trust your family's personal financial situation. You need to trust that number in your bank account. Not what the media is telling you. Are you getting more bang for your buck at the grocery store? Is your dollar going further than it was 4 years ago? That's what you need to ask. And I don't know the answer to that question. It's honestly probably too soon to tell either way. I don't know the answer to that question, but that's what you guys need to judge off of, not the hype you see on social media, because it's all, maybe it's not all lies, but it's certainly a stretch of the truth. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.